York and Puerto Rico and everywhere else that we're coming from, I really like that we're a very global economy and ecosystem, and that's part of what I wanted to talk about today. I know a big focus of what we're working on are the social, economic growth that we have and the potential that we have to really radically change the world. And by doing that, we're doing it through all of our different types of resources and energy and innovation, and specifically we've been here for Blockchain Week, but I think this is our opportunity to talk about the next steps of where this technology really goes. So I'm Crystal Rose, the CEO of Sense, and our big mission is to connect everyone together to be able to simply transact instantly and directly without anything in between. And I think that's a big mission for changing the world economy. So the first thing I want to talk about is human capital. What exactly is human capital? Human capital is all of the things that you have intrinsically within yourself that you can create value from. So if you think of your knowledge and life experience and your skills, everything that you have that you can create a contribution from, and also the consumption that you have to society, that is also human capital. A lot of us trade human capital for other things like social capital and financial capital. Those are the two that people seem to like the most, and that's really how we create an economy. Our economy is now thriving on people who are becoming entrepreneurs and able to be freelancers of all different types. So I thought this was really interesting. There's a $3.5 trillion market on essentially gig workers, people who are working on side jobs, and that could be everything from driving an Uber to designing a graphic and putting it online. And so this is a really big marketplace, and what that means to me is that there's a potential to take our human capital and turn it into the human cloud. We have the opportunity now to essentially work from anywhere. And I like that idea because this is what will help us to expand and create human capital everywhere instead of really high density human capital in small places. New York has a lot of it. San Francisco has a ton. So it's high value human capital all condensed into one place. What that does is it makes all of the other places that have really talented people want to move to those places because they think that geography is what's important about success. So for instance, in Puerto Rico, Mayagüez is a university that graduates all of the computer science students who are intelligent, and they're now also working in blockchain, and they want to leave Puerto Rico because they want to go somewhere that has a better opportunity for success. If we were able to truly create a human cloud situation, though, what we would do is we would essentially connect all of the people globally on an equal playing field so that they can transact their human capital together. And that's really what the digital economy has done for us. It's been a really big mover for that mission, but we still have some things to work out to get to a better place. So we have this philosophy, and this is, I've been working for the last few years on creating a world of entrepreneurs because we believe that every single person is intrinsically an entrepreneur. We all have skills and life experience that we can share, and if we can leverage the relationships that we have and the platforms around us, we can create value. And we're doing that now today with not just humans, but also machines. So we're finding all of these ways to connect together and create more value. The global economy is something that we're working towards and striving towards. And although it feels like we're all really connected because we're all connected through social networks, that's not the connection that we need in order to really truly create an ecosystem of human capital where we're all earning and creating equal value. So this is, in order to exchange human capital, we also want to say, well, how do we get financial capital? So I found this chart. This is the most popular digital wallets that the United States currently is using, and PayPal is considered to be a digital wallet. And the next one is Amazon. And if you go down this list, really, they're all just big centralized institutions: Visa, Google, Apple Pay, Android Pay. Then they're really not very prevalent. Actually, there's a very low market for digital wallets in America. And I was trying to figure this out because I was like, well, where's crypto on this list? There's zero crypto. It's actually a question mark. It's that I think it's too easy and comfortable for us to use plastic. So for America, we don't actually have this consideration. We think that transacting is easy. We think that if we're going to submit a PayPal payment in exchange for the digital work that I do for you, the blog that I write for you, or the editing that I do, we think that that's sufficient. But actually, that type of payment system is not truly part of the global economy. And so if I were working from a place like India, I might not be able to take that payment because PayPal might not be able to bank me because I don't have the ability to get a bank account or even an address. And so let's look at the global mobile payments. So I'm going to give you a spreadsheet that my co-founder made because it was actually, the numbers are so huge and so disparate in size that I couldn't create a chart that would stay on the screen. And so in China, we have the top ones. This is trillions. That's why that number is so big. They're actually transacting in the trillions, which seems outside of possible feasibility for us in the United States. PayPal's entire business is worth $94 billion. So these are just the transactions that are happening within Alipay in China. WeChat is also China. If you look through M-Pesa is really fascinating because M-Pesa is a cryptocurrency in Kenya that represents more than 50% of the total GDP of the country. They're transacting in cryptocurrency, so that means that they're leapfrogging our transactions that we're doing in the United States. The rest of them, India, mostly are, even if you look at WhatsApp is actually not creating revenue in most countries. India is the country that it's creating revenue in. And so these types of payments are being done in mobile wallets that are actually inside of messengers. So we're seeing that all of the other countries that are underbanked or underserved or what we would think are maybe not part of the global economy are actually leapfrogging us in the ability to transact. They're doing a better job. And so the human cloud is more accessible for the people who are living in places like India. We can now pay them, and that's why Mechanical Turk is really prevalent. In India, a 500,000 workers are just basically doing digital tasks on Amazon's M-Turk, and they're getting paid digitally, but they're getting paid digitally in Amazon gift cards because Amazon doesn't yet use cryptocurrency, so it's really impossible for them to actually use those gift cards. They don't have an address, they're not banked, and that's why Amazon couldn't send them a check in the first place. This is a really big problem. So what would be a better solution? Maybe Bitcoin. What they're doing is they're selling those gift cards on a secondary market. You can find them on a place called purse.io, and you get a discount. If we were able to infuse cryptocurrency into this process, like M-Pesa, it would be a lot better for the individuals. They would keep their money. So the digital landscape, all of the people seem to be online. We actually have more than half the population. Where 2/3 of the population have mobile, and a lot of that is data connected, most of it. Most of us spend most of our time on messengers and on social media sites. So the weird thing is, though, why is it that there are so few people that are actually using cryptocurrency? If we have 2/3 of the world population on mobile, and yet 1% of that is using cryptocurrency, and this is actually generous because last year MIT and Cambridge did this study, and they said it was 5 million known cryptocurrency users. I did a 10x multiple on this, just assuming it kind of went with the market of the entire cryptocurrency market, which rose at about 10x. Even that generosity, we still are at 1% of the total mobile population. So there's a really big opportunity here for us to start using digital payments in a much more meaningful way, and especially decentralizing them. Centralization also causes other problems. PayPal isn't really as accessible as we think. We're just sort of locked into our own thinking in our own country. So if we really want to go global, we're going to have to embrace the ability for us to transact frictionlessly and with each other. So I wanted to show, go back, what people do typically to trade their human capital. They trade their human capital for social capital, usually, and this is what we spend a lot of time on. And so if you have likes and followers and fans and hearts and things, that's your vanity metrics, essentially, but those numbers are non-exchangeable for real capital. This is the social capital that you're gaining, but who is earning is actually the platform. And so I wanted to show you a little bit about the data collection that is done on you and where your capital is going. Your data is super valuable, and it's probably the most valuable thing on the digital landscape today. You are basically tracked on everything that you do, and on the top layer, we already know, based on all of the news, especially that Facebook and others are taking our data and reselling it for ads. Facebook they made $40 billion last year, and they're an advertising company. That's what they do. And so there are the underlying platforms, which if you have anything like a credit card or a house or a mortgage or anything like that, there are so many different platforms that are tracking you. This data is even more valuable. And when they know information about you, they're able to then create a profile, and the advertisers buy that data over and over and over again across all the digital channels. You're basically being resold and resold again, and you're never really earning any money on it. In fact, if you have recently gotten a divorce, your data is more valuable. If you have kids, not so much, doesn't change very much, but if you are expecting, your data goes up by a multiple, and that is because you become a really high value purchaser. The advertisers really want a piece of you. So this is sort of all your data. What are you going to do with it, and how do you make money on it? And this is what a lot of the companies are trying to solve now, because globally we have so many people that are so high value, but they're not really earning anything for themselves. So we'd like to take a little piece of that action. How do we take the money back that's coming from advertisement, basically taking our data and then paying the publisher, and we're not really getting a whole lot except for the free use of the platform. But to connect together, we're being essentially exploited. We have some solutions for that. So we've been looking at how many people are jumping through, passing over these centralized systems and going straight to cryptocurrency. And you can see now that a lot of people are using their wallet address. This is an Ethereum wallet in the wild. And basically just saying, hey, can I please have a tip, or could you give me some reward for what I'm doing? So we have just created with Sense the ability to take that and turn it into a crypto direct message. So every time you see an Ethereum wallet address on any kind of web page, we can essentially let you type a message, and then you can send that message along with some Ethereum. It's really simple, and it goes directly to the person. It's anonymous, it's secure, and it's direct. There's no necessity for me to have any kind of account or anything that's centralized, and I never have to interact again. That goes straight into Telegram. You can hook up all different types of messengers. So we combine the two things that are the most prevalent on mobile, which are payments and messaging. And we think that that's the first step. For us, that's just the top layer, monetizing the social presence. If you have a blog, or if you're doing any contributions online, all of that digital content can be monetized. It's going to take a long time before we get to monetize the other types of data that we saw, and even then, the advertisers are paying pennies or dollars for it, so it's not that valuable. But I think all of these types of contributions are just showing that as we monetize them, we really can start to share our talents and share our gifts with the world and start to find the people who will reward us. So developers are another really big part of this, and one of the things I thought was really fascinating being in Puerto Rico is after having gone there for one round on the first restart week, we were there for 1 week, and right after that, the EduBlock group that was from Mayaguez, from the colleges, had educated 50 people on how to make smart contracts. So really rapidly, they created a system of educating people from 15 to 50 who were all able to create smart contracts. And that just shows that talent is literally everywhere. And so we wanted to allow people to use this software, and I think all companies that open source their software and educate people are doing a great job at this, and sort of bring that to the ecosystem. Really, I think that this mission that we're on is a much, much larger one. So I think if you look at Puerto Rico and you look at the people who are there and their ability to do such amazing things, it's this direct flight from New York, so it makes it really incredibly easy. And it's something to think about when you're thinking of how you can create global teams. So really, this is the first step. We want to see how we can create reward systems between each other. We want to see how we can create more seamless and frictionless payments, and how we can let people live in areas globally and still work together. So I'm Crystal Rose, and we are Make Sense, and we have job openings where we hire from everywhere. Our team is distributed, and I highly encourage other companies to do the same. Thank you.